3 weeks into stage 4 restrictions. Victoria, we're halfway there, or Melbourne, I have to say. Melbourne are copying it worse than anyone else. It's not just the economic pain, it's the health pain, it's the whole lot. It's business confidence and everything else. A lot of businesses say to me they are unsure if they'll even be able to open their doors when restrictions start to ease. Workers, many of them are left in the dark. They're not even sure if they've got a job to return to. And of course, the stress of managing family life, looking after kids at home and bills that are piling up. Well, Victorian Liberal Senator Sarah Henderson says that there's now a real chance that businesses hit hard by the decisions of the Victorian government are actually owed compensation under the Public Health and Wellbeing Act. And she's got some support. The founder of Jim's Mowing, Jim Penman, is backing her up. Senator Sarah Henderson and Mr Jim Penman join me now. All right, Sarah, I'll start with you. You had a speech in the Parliament yesterday. You're calling on Victorians to look at all the legal avenues they might have here for financial redress and compensation. How does this work?
Well, Peter, good evening. And interestingly, this provision in the Public Health and Wellbeing Act was actually inserted by Daniel Andrews when he was the Health Minister back in 2008. So he recognised that this important safeguard is necessary. But what it provides, and this is section 204, it provides Victorians who've suffered loss as a result of unreasonable restrictions exercised under the state's emergency powers, the ability to apply for compensation. And it's very straightforward. It just requires a letter to the Secretary of the Department of Health. She has 28 days to make a decision, and then if the decision is not in accordance with the applicant's view, then that person can take it to VCAT, the Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal. So a very inexpensive way of seeking just compensation.
Yes, and even if you get blocked there, you make the point, Sarah, even if you get blocked there by the official, which you may well, considering they're appointed by the government, you've got a tribunal mechanism. It's very inexpensive to appear. You can appear yourself and to lodge an application. So that's interesting. Jim, I want to go to you. Obviously, you've got strong links with all your franchise operators and businesses around the state. Victoria's in stage 3, Melbourne's in stage 4. I want to get a sense, how hard is this hitting business operators that you have experience with?
Oh, very, very hard. It's not just us too. There's 4,000 odd gardening contractors in the state, and they are devastated by this. The effect on them and their families is just ruinous. And the whole point about it is it's so unnecessary, because a sole operator working alone is no danger to health from the public. It was clearly recognised in the original guidelines from Health and Human Services. The Premier has never given an explanation as to why that changed. There are council workers doing the same jobs, working 2, 3, 4 in a group, doing the same jobs, and they're permitted, and our people aren't. It's absolutely outrageous.
Sarah, I want to pick up on that. Jim makes a point, and he's right. Businesses who mow the lawns can't, but council workers who mow the lawns can. Why the difference?
Well, we don't know, Peter. There is no explanation. And what this provision of the Act does is also provide Victorians with effectively the right to find out why a restriction is necessary, whether it was properly based. Because if, as Jim has done, form the view that this is improper and it's an arbitrary exercise of power, his franchisees and other contractors in the similar situation can make an application, and then if it's denied, take that application for compensation to VCAT, and then the Victorian government will be required in a tribunal to show why that restriction was necessary. And as we know, Peter, there are some very important restrictions, very necessary restrictions for the sake of combating the second wave. But Victorians do properly have to ask, why is it necessary for an 8 o'clock curfew where every Melburnian is effectively locked in their homes? Why can't private lawnmowers work and yet council lawnmowers can? Why can't some occupations go from site to site in their occupation and building and construction workers are able to move freely. There are all sorts of inconsistencies. So this is a very important mechanism to hold the government to account. And it was actually recognised by Daniel Andrews, who obviously was the health minister at the time and enacted this legislation back in 2008.
Jim, it just strikes me as bureaucracy gone mad, given, most of your franchisee and other operators are outside, pretty easy to socially distance in a back lawn or a front yard. I want to know what you plan on doing from here on in. You've heard Sarah's advice. Where are you going to take it?
Well, we're getting advice from one of Australia's top QCs as to exactly how to frame the approach, and then we're going to advise all of our franchisees and any independent operators across the state without any cost at all. We're going to say, this is what you do, this is how you apply, then you go to VCAT, we'll help you, we'll support you. It won't cost you anything except a very minor cost to go to VCAT. So it's a very easy thing to do. And the great thing about it is it puts pressure on now. Unlike some class action, it'll take years to run. This is something we can do like within a week, and we can start putting pressure on the Andrews government to get rid of this ridiculous clause, this ridiculous change that he's put on.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Going at it now, not waiting for class action, that will be months and months away, and a bit of shame on governments usually works. Sarah Henderson, Jim Penman, thank you for your time.